And for his very first television interview, Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull joins us now. Prime Minister, good morning, and 1 week on, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks very much, Lisa. Good to be with you.
There were reports in the Fairfax Press over the weekend that you said Tony Abbott had to go before Christmas. It seems in your first act you're well ahead of schedule.
Well, look, it's very important that we get on with the job of providing the leadership, the inspiration, the optimism that's going to ensure we remain a prosperous first world economy with high wages and a generous social welfare safety net. And to do that, we need strong leadership and really inspiration to be more innovative, more optimistic, more creative, more productive. That's where our future prosperity lies.
You had to get there first, though. How long had you been plotting to overthrow Tony Abbott?
Look, Lisa, I'll leave all of the commentary to others. I'm focused on the job at hand. So I'm looking forward. Others can look back. I'm looking forward.
All right. Well, you've put a huge broom through the ministry. Out go Joe Hockey, Kevin Andrews, and Erica Betts. You must have been pretty unimpressed with the previous cabinet.
Well, Lisa, that's not fair. And if I can just let me just enlarge on this. Any organisation, a company, a government, department, has to have renewal. You need new people to move through. You have to have renewal to stay modern, to stay contemporary. And that means that good people, when I say good people, they're all good people, but people who are doing a good job have got to be able to make way for others. Several of the people that were not reappointed to the ministry yesterday were very close personal friends of mine. It was a very tough day for them and for me too. But leaders have to make sure that there is renewal. And that's why you've seen so many new faces in the cabinet, so many more women, so many more younger people, people with enormous capacity coming in there. You know, well, I won't go through them all, but that would be a long list, but there's a lot of them. You know, I mentioned Kelly O'Dwyer, Christian Porter, Josh Frydenberg, Simon Birmingham, Mitch Fifield, Michaelia Cash, and of course Maurice Payne as the first woman Defence Minister. These are all new faces coming up into the cabinet, and they can't do that unless others leave. So that's just the way it is. And you obviously felt that the female quotient was missing from the previous cabinet. Well, I thought two cabinet ministers out of 19 was not enough. No, so we now have the cabinet's expanded somewhat. It's 21, and we have five women in the cabinet. It would be good if it were more, but as you know, the percentage of women in the parliament itself is not as high as it should be.
One of the challenges you've got 44 Liberal colleagues who didn't want you as leader, including outgoing Defence Minister Kevin Andrews, who rolled a grenade or two in your direction yesterday. Cory Bernardi is throwing around accusations of treachery. And you've got Tony Abbott, whose job you took. They're all sitting on the back bench. How are you going to heal that divide?
Well, again, you should be more sunny and optimistic and positive so early in the morning. It's a beautiful day. Why are you so negative?
Well, there's questions that have to be answered, Prime Minister.
If you're negative in the morning, you must be very grumpy by the afternoon.
I'm a ray of sunshine at night.
Really? So well, if you sort of are only sunshiny in the evening, maybe you're doing a program at the wrong end of the day.
Come on, answer the question.
The answer is, Lisa, that the ministry has been assembled by me on merit. There are people that have been appointed to cabinet. Christian Porter and Josh Frydenberg, just two examples. There are other appointments that I can say the same about, who were quite open about voting for Tony Abbott in the leadership ballot last week. So it's not as though, and of course not everyone says how they vote, but there was a difference of opinion. There always is in the leadership ballot. It was quite a large margin, as it turned out, but nonetheless, there are very prominent people with great ability who've been promoted on merit. This ministry, and equally, there are people that have left the ministry who were very close friends of mine. So I've assembled this cabinet on the base, and this ministry overall, because it's much more than the cabinet, on the basis of merit, and I think that's been generally recognised.
Did you offer Tony Abbott a cabinet position?
The answer is no, but he wouldn't. It's not something that Tony would seek either.
Is it going to be awkward having him there on the backbench?
Well, Tony's got to form. Look, Lisa, I know what it's like to lose the leadership of a political party. Right? It is a very tough. It's a very tough business. I feel for Tony. I know what he's. You know, I've got a pretty good understanding of what he's going through. It's a rotten time, and he will need lots of support from his family and friends, just as I had when I ceased to be leader some years ago. But you know, the show has to go on. You know, this is the government of Australia. It is the Parliament of Australia. We are focused on good outcomes for all Australians. In politics, that means that individuals sometimes have to endure tough periods. But that's it.
Did you offer Joe Hockey a cabinet position before he announced that he would leave Parliament?
Well, Joe made it quite clear, Lisa, that he was not seeking a position in the ministry. He will be devastated that you didn't pay attention to his press release yesterday. He thinks so highly of you.
Well,
he'll be upset.
Yeah, but
no, Joe did not seek Joe actually said he didn't want to be considered for the ministry, and that he was planning to retire from Parliament.
Sometimes you just need a point of clarification.
I know. I'm teasing you because I know you're a good friend of his. He's a
very good man.
He is a very good man, and I think he's got a lot of national service, as it were, ahead of him in his life.
And on that note, have you offered him the role of ambassador to the US?
Well, I cannot possibly comment on diplomatic appointments.
So we should take that as a yes?
You can take that as I cannot possibly comment on diplomatic appointments.
All right, moving on. You've appointed Senator Michaelia Cash to the role of Minister for Women. In that same role, Tony Abbott stripped $270 million from community services that support women escaping family violence. Are you going to increase that funding?
Well, Lisa, I'm not going to make announcements here as the Prime Minister until they've been. I'll make many announcements as Prime Minister, but I'll make them following consideration by Cabinet. The issue of family violence, or domestic violence as it's often called, which is just violence against women, which is the way I would prefer to describe it, is an enormous one. It has been overlooked, to some extent ignored, for far too long, and we must have zero tolerance for it. And I think the growing level of awareness is vital. I mean, real men don't hit women, and we've got to be very determined to eradicate it. Now, will we have new measures to announce? Watch this space. That's what I would say.
OK, we definitely will, Prime Minister. Now, 16 years ago, you accused John Howard of being the Prime Minister that broke Australia's heart by failing to back Australia's move to a republic. Is your dream now to be the Prime Minister that brings in a republic?
Well, look, I think the republic, and again, I know, your husband is the chairman of the Republican movement,
yeah,
Peter,
I should declare
and that
actually.
is no, don't declare it. It's something it's not a conflict. It's
we do work independently of each other.
No, but I'm just saying, Peter and I have been talking. I've talked to him, and he's talked to others about it. Look, the republic issue cannot belong to a politician. Politicians can look. I'm a Republican. Everyone knows that. It's got to be a genuine popular movement, as it was in the lead-up to the referendum in '99. My own view, for what it is worth, and it is just my view, I might be wrong, my own view, and I've held this view since '99, is that the next occasion for the Republic referendum to come up is going to be after the end of the Queen's reign. I think that will be the next watershed event, if you like, that will make that issue relevant. Now, that doesn't mean that it'll happen, but I think that's when people will be paying more attention to it. But if Peter and the ARM can crank it up and get more attention to the issue, in the meantime, good luck to them. It is a democracy, But while I am a Republican, I have to say to you that there are much more immediate issues facing me and the government than the Republic. And the key ones all relate to economic growth. We have to ensure that we are more productive so that we have higher living standards, that we can maintain this high wage, generous social welfare net, first world economy. And that's going to require a lot of reform, a lot of leadership, a lot of confidence, a lot of optimism, a lot of innovation. That's what's on my agenda.
Prime Minister, just finally, Alan Jones told you last year live on radio that you need to get it through your head that you'll never be Prime Minister. Does that make this ascendancy to the top job all the sweeter?
No, it just proves that Alan is mortal and, like all of us, nobody's infallible.
Very good answer. Prime Minister, we really do appreciate the fact that this was your first television interview, and all of Australia, I'm sure, wishes you the very best of luck in a very important role.
Thanks so much, Lisa.